sing that song at the first sign of light. Maybe she'll stay for a couple of days, sort out what's new and what's used, toss out the toothbrushes, pack up the bags. She's really not sure what to do. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. With tears in her eyes, she watched the geese fly and whispered the words goodbye, and whispered the words goodbye. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night. The thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night. The thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. There where the garden spider weaves the intricate work of her life. There where the morning dove used to sing that song at the first sign of light. Maybe she'll stay for a couple of days, sort out what's new and what's used, toss out the toothbrushes, pack up the bags. She's really not sure what to do. tears in her eyes, she watched the geese fly and whispered the words goodbye, and whispered the words goodbye. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night, the thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night, the thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. There where the garden spider weaves the intricate work of her life. There where the morning dove used to sing that song at the first sign of light. Maybe she'll stay for a couple of days, sort out what's new and what's used, toss out the toothbrushes, pack up the bags. She's really not sure what to do. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. With tears in her eyes, she watched the geese fly and whispered the words goodbye, and whispered the words goodbye. stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night, the thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night, the thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. There where the garden spider weaves the intricate work of her life. There where the morning dove used to sing that song at the first sign of light. Maybe she'll stay for a couple of days, sort out what's new and what's used, toss out the toothbrushes, pack up the bags. She's really not sure what to do.
Good morning. I invite you to take your seats. Whoa. Now I do it louder. I invite you to take your seats and prepare for this morning's service. On behalf of the worship committee, I'd like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. I am Reverend Stephen Robinson. And for the next several weeks, we are going to have, all through the month of July, the voices of UU. And so that means that I will not be one of those voices. But you get to hear from fellow folks that are here across all 4 Sundays. I will be helping. There's a couple of Sundays that I will be the service leader here. And then I'm also going to take a Sunday next Sunday and be with the children and youth in the RE wing. That is our month of July. So we're looking forward to today. Marc Drews is going to be bringing our sermon today, and we are so excited about the opportunity to hear Marc and celebrate this holiday weekend. During these opening words, we are often sharing information about our events and different things in our services, and so we invite you to stay informed. There's lots of ways to stay informed through different announcements. If you're not on our list to get our email every Thursday, we invite you to do that as well. And of course, our website is a great place to get information And we are going to have new forms that we give out to visitors that we're working on to be able to give that out. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be able to unfurl those. And some of them will be in the chairs and some of them will be in the foyer. We warmly welcome families with children and offer child care during our service for infants and children up to 4 years of age. We have a designated seated area in the sanctuary for children ages 4 to 7, and their parents and their caregivers can sit there with them. And if you go all the way back to the back of the social hall, there are some toys that are available that they can bring into the sanctuary. Just a reminder that this wasn't necessarily accurate last week because we were having some technical difficulties, but we have everything back up and running, and we are videoing our service. It is live streamed. It also remains on YouTube, and we often take pictures during our services. So if you would not like to be in those pictures, then you have to sit outside in the heat. Right out. I'm just kidding. Our cameras do not reach over into this area, so this is a great place to sit. If you are not wanting to be on camera, or if you land politically a certain way, because this is the right wing of the people over there are now moving. Just a reminder about our faith. We are a diverse and a non-creedal religion, a community that's founded on deeds, not creeds, a covenantal religion that doesn't believe that we have to believe all the same things to treat each other with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity, putting love at the very center of our values. We are proud to be a congregation that welcomes everyone into this space and welcomes you to be who you are, fully who you are, when you walk into these doors. We're also delighted to welcome guests and visitors, and today Mark is going to be bringing a microphone around. If you are visiting with us, if it's the first time or you've been here a couple of times and haven't had a chance to introduce yourself, this is a great way for you to get yourself into this space and for us to get to know you. Mark's going to come around with a microphone and allow you to introduce yourself and your name, where you're from. So also, if you brought guests with you, you can introduce them. But please stand if you're willing to share this morning.
Good morning. Hello. Good morning, everyone. My name is Travis Jackson. I am a member of the church in Charlotte. I am moving back here to my hometown in Columbia beginning of next year. So I just look forward to seeing y'all more.
I've been here so many times, I guess I'm not a visitor anymore. But my name's Forrest. This is my husband, Greg. We're from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and we attend the Unitarian Universalist Church there. Thank you both.
You can see me. I'm Linda Grizel. I have been here and visited with you guys before. I moved to Columbia a couple years ago, and I have kind of bounced around and decided this morning I need to be here.
All right.
I showed up here.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate you. Anybody else? Anybody?
All right, thank you. That often describes my morning as a minister. I bounce around, and then at some point on Sunday, I go, I really should go. So. Forrest and Greg, not only have they visited before, but they hold the responsibility of, right? Is that all right to say that, Manfred? Are you sure? Jeff's looking at me like, what's he going to say? Forrest and Greg gave the push to Manfred, and Jeff said, you should really try the UU Church. So thank you. You've brought us some great members. If you'd like to learn more about our congregation, there are some visitor cards on the back of the chair. If you fill it out, we'll make sure that we get information to you. Board members here wear green name tags, so we would love to be able to answer questions and offer support to you, and so just recognize those folks when they're here. Mark is going to share a little bit about our committee chairs. Well, I'm going to share, right? Committee chairs, or our committees are going to be the chalice lighters for the different months throughout our year, and we're going to focus on a different committee every every month. And so throughout this year, we're going to really give you an opportunity to get to know some of our folks who work on our committees. And today I'm just going to ask, since the month of July is our worship committee, if you're a member of the worship committee, please stand. All right, let's give them a hand. The worship committee does a great job of making sure that we have all of our services ready to go and create this beautiful place for us to gather in this sacred community. Today, our flowers are donated by volunteers, and so please see Mara Farley, hand up there, if you'd like to donate flowers, but also Mara would love some help on the flower team. So if you're interested in helping out with that, you can see Mara afterwards, and if Mara's not available, just grab John beside her, and he's got all the information that he needs to help recruit for that, right? All right. At this point, we ask you to silence all of your devices, to center yourself in this space, and prepare ourselves as we listen to our prelude.
This Land is Your Land was written by American folk singer Woody Guthrie on February 23rd of 1940. He composed it in New York City as a critical response to Irving Berlin's God Bless America, which Guthrie felt romanticized inequality from the struggles of everyday people during the Great Depression. The song's versatility made it an inclusive protest anthem adapted by a broad spectrum of musicians. Newer criticism raised awareness of an unconscious bias presented in this classic song. Some Indigenous scholars and cultural critics noted the song's core message reflects a colonialist mindset that erases the forced displacement of Native Americans and the brutal realities of settler colonialism. So today, we will include a common unofficial adaptation to some of the lyrics to acknowledge the land that belonged to Indigenous people before settlers claimed it as their own.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
As I was walking across this wide country, I thought about the peoples here before me. Their songs and language still live among us. Their nations endure upon this land. This land is your land. This land is my land. From tribal homelands to the land we stand in. From mountain valleys to the ocean shoreline. Let's be good stewards of this land. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Thank you, Richard and Michelle, for leading us in our music today. At this point, I invite you to stand and rise in body or spirit. Join me in the congregational covenant that is printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. You may be seated. The flame within the chalice of our Unitarian Universalist faith tradition is the symbol of our faith. It is what we light when we gather for worship every week, which moves us into this sacred space in a congregation. Today, our chalice is going to be lit by the outgoing chair of the worship committee and the incoming chair of the worship committee, Linda Brennison, who has served us for 3 years in this role, and Marc Drews, who is taking on the work of the worship committee. A big thanks to Linda for 3 years of great work. And an applause of support. Ooh. For Mark, who is taking on that work. Spirit of light and life, come to us.
In these times in which we live, we recognize that there are those who confuse politics with patriotism. This Is My Song is a plea for global peace and universal brotherhood. Set to the majestic tune Finlandia by Jean Sibelius, the lyrics balance a love for one's own country with the recognition that people everywhere share the same hopes and dreams. Our opening hymn is number 159 in your gray hymnals. This Is My Song. Please stand.
You may be seated. Invite the children to join Mark down front for the story for all ages.
Good morning. Oh, look at these. What did we celebrate this weekend?
4th of July.
The 4th of July, exactly. And how did you celebrate? How about yourself?
Fireworks.
You did some fireworks, all right? You did some fireworks. How about, what did you eat? Any potato salad? Hot dogs?
Hot dog, yeah.
For me, it was pizza. Very American, right? No, not so much. And what is so neat about our opportunity to celebrate yesterday is I pulled this out because I thought this was a pretty neat map. This is a map that was made to kind of capture all the different countries, big cities around the world. And I couldn't help but, when I saw that, I couldn't help but think, this is truly who we are. This captures all of us, from Hawaii on one side, all the way to Tokyo, Japan on the other. So when celebrating Independence Day yesterday at the Children's Museum where I get to work, I thought, what could we do to go ahead and pay special attention not on the battles that were won, not by what was going on with the king, but how do we go ahead? So we had all the children and their families come in, gather the letters, and they created this. Isn't that neat? What this is the Declaration of Independence. And we're going to hear more of that in a second when it talked about truly all the words that went in the course of human events. And from there, we talked about why it was that we wanted to be independent from England. And the thing is, like it or not, you start your independence very, very early. Sometimes it's immediately after you use the word no for the first time. And throughout your life, you gain different levels of independence. How many of you have a particular bedtime? I hope all of you. I remember when my kids were little, coming to us, and they gave compelling reasons why they thought they should be able to stay up, not from 8:30, that was their typical bedtime, but they wanted to stay up until 9 o'clock. And they gave the right reasons why they could stay up a little bit later, promising that they won't get up grouchy. And that was an example of their setting out an example of independence. But my wife and I chose to do it a little differently. Because we have 3 children, we said, let's vote on this. I think because I like time that's child-free in the evening, I'm going to have to vote it down. The oldest son said, well, I'm voting to be able to stay up a little bit later. And then the second son said, I too am voting. So now it's 2 votes to stay up later, 1 vote to keep the same bedtime. And then it was Patty's turn, my wife. What do you think she said? She said, let's stick with the 8:30 bedtime. The vote was 2-2, and the suspense went to their little sister, who now had to give the deciding vote. And in true democratic fashion, we looked at her, and we noticed her eyeballs sweating heavily. At least that's what we were trying to say. She was getting all choked up, worrying, how do I vote for this? Because I'm not staying up until 9. But she voted to allow the boys to stay up until 9 o'clock, and she helped make that decision. And it gained that sense of independence for those boys to be able to stay up just a little bit later. That was just a small way that independence happens at your home. So as we mark today, let us remember that, yeah, it's July 4th, but it is Independence Day, a day where we're able to go ahead and mark that we are independent and we value our freedom. So with that, we're not going to sing you out. We're going to ask that you go back to your seats and with your families, and let's go ahead and continue with our service that focuses on the importance of Independence Day.
opening words that form the textual foundation for this holiday, the ones that Mark just referred to. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. At this point in our service, we light candles of community for those joys and concerns that we are holding this morning. If you have a candle, we invite you to briefly come and share that joy, briefly share that concern, and then place your candle here.
Do I speak to a phone? This. You may notice I'm on my own today. I want your love and prayers for my beloved Ginny, who is in Richland Hospital after falling and breaking 3 ribs. When she's coming back, I do not know. I'm not qualified to get the medical information from the doctors and so on. I would also point out that if you find me acting a little bit oddly, I've had an accident to my thumb. I'm supposed to keep it above my heart. I have always replaced my razor blades in the razor. It took a chunk out of my thumb, so it started bleeding. I had to go to the hospital, and I was in the hospital A&E at the same time that Ginny was in with the broken ribs. So if I act a bit oddly, you can understand that. But you can give all your prayers for Ginny, just give the odd little one to my thumb.
Hi, everybody. Nope, already starting to cry. I haven't been here in a while. My mental and physical health hasn't been great. I do want to say thanks to the AV team for their efforts, because I do watch from home, so I get to keep up with everybody the best I can. The mental and physical pain from just my body's general state of being has been exacerbated by the death of my father a month ago. And because of the kindness and sweetness of this community, I do get to be with my family when we honor him in a couple weeks. It will be twofold, because I will try my best to get up to my last hometown, because yesterday a dear friend from back home passed away as well from a massive heart attack. She was about the same age as I am, leaving behind several children and a community that will miss her very much. So this is a candle of gratitude to you guys for your sweet kind words that you guys have sent me during my mental health issues and my physical issues, as well as after my dad passed. And of course, sorrow and definite absence that will be felt from my very big dad's big shadow that will always be around, but difficult to deal with. So thank you guys for being there for me. And also keep my friend Amanda, her family in your thoughts as they deal with a very sudden and tragic loss.
Hello, I'm Ryan Kern, and I don't have a candle, so I promise I'll be very brief. When I heard that today's service would focus a lot around the anniversary of this country's founding, its birthday, there was a little bit of hesitation for me. I grew up in the military, and I grew up a lot around a lot of insisted patriotism. You know, that was your job, and we showed up to the things, the air shows, the presentations, and as a young gay man, well, boy back then, growing up in an era of don't ask, don't tell, don't repeal, don't pursue, before it was repealed, there's a lot of hesitation around me when I see a lot of flags flying and a lot of insisting on, yay, we're here. But I don't have a candle, but I thought it was important to say that I'm already very pleasantly surprised to see how well this service is going. I mean, even just at the honest and thoughtful introduction of the song this morning, just reminded me how this is a good place for me to be, to celebrate this country, the things that go well, and especially being with others who feel some of the same way about the mixed feelings we might all be sharing on the anniversary. I see a lot of heads doing this, so it's very nice to know I'm in a place of people who make sense to be with on this day. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Lee Mingy, and I greatly appreciate that we have candles of community, in that not all Unitarian or UU churches have this part of the service. So we have to put up with messages that we don't particularly think are appropriate from time to time. But this is here when we truly need it. And I fall in that category this morning. Later this week, is the second anniversary of Julian's leaving this earth. It's a grief journey is uneven. There are high points and landmines. Some landmines are obvious, like July 10th. Others you can stumble on and boom, they just knock you for a loop. I'm very grateful for the support and love shown many of you to me. And I know that the thought of Julian brings a smile to your face, those of you who knew him. Recently, I came upon a reading which was very helpful to me. It was entitled, "The Second Year is Harder," which is a surprise. But some of you recognize that reality. And the explanation, one of them, was that it's harder because the naked reality of absence is without the cushion of disbelief. Think about that. I'm certainly realizing it.
Makes me want to cry. This is a candle of joy and embarrassment. I totally and completely forgot my parents' anniversary was July 4th. They would have been married they were only married 32 years before they divorced. But it would have been like their 78th or something like that anniversary, which my brother reminded me. But it's a candle of joy for my brother, who also got married on July 4th, 32 years ago, and they're still together. And hopefully they'll make it past 32. But the sad part about it is that yesterday, they have 2 sons, and yesterday their youngest son flew to Las Vegas. They live in Honolulu, so because there are no apartments, he can't get an apartment, he can't get a job. It's so expensive to live there for young kids. They're just fleeing the state in droves, I guess, from what Jay said. But so he got a text from my brother. He said he just got on the plane, lots of tears. So this is for Jay and Brenna, his parents.
Good morning. This was supposed to be a 3-fer, but John already took care of Ginny Stout, so it's a 2-fer. Many of you know Marlene Trader. She and I did a little adventure in Ohio last week, and her adventure ended up on the ground, and she has fractured her pelvis. We came home Thursday and Friday, and she is home and recovering and being, if you know Marlene, she's cheerful and positive and just typical Marlene. But she did ask me to light a candle and ask for all of your positive energy to be sent to her. So this is for Marlene. It is also a bit for me and my niece and her husband and their children. You remember 3 months ago, I stood up here and said that my brother had died. When I was in the car coming home from Ohio, I got word that my brother's wife had died on Thursday. So this is for their kids. Thank you.
My name's Kathy Paget. I shared in Story Circle on Thursday that on July 2nd, 1959, my mom and I were sitting on our front porch in my small town of Perry, New York. And I don't know exactly how it happened, but we both agreed that every July 2nd, for the rest of our lives, we were going to stay in touch with each other. We were going to write a letter or make a phone call or just make sure that we intentionally thought about each other. So July 2nd came several days ago, and I just thoroughly enjoyed thinking about her and how easy the conversations were on that front porch. She was just not the easiest person to talk to. She always said that's because she was British. And, but there were so many nice memories that I had from thinking about her. I might add, 1959, she was pregnant at the age of 46, and she was not feeling very comfortable in the heat. So I was remembering special things about her that I will never forget. She sang to me from The King and I and My Fair Lady. She sang when she was pushing the vacuum around our house. She spanked me only once, and that was when I tried to run away from home, when I put a blue blanket over my head and walked down Lake Street, and at one point looked down at the sidewalk, and there were her feet, and she took me home. She escorted me home and spanked me. She was a lovely, lovely lady, Audrey Deeney. And I highly recommend the idea of making a pledge to each other to stay in touch throughout our lives with our loved ones. Thank you. No candle.
All right, I got some news this week. Dick Goodwin, Professor Emeritus of Trumpet and Composition at USC and a fixture in the musical life of Columbia. If you've heard any music in Columbia, you've heard him perform or heard his compositions and arrangement. He had a heart attack on Wednesday, and I don't know the situation, but just think some good thoughts for him, and just thought I'd pass that on. He was a colleague of our own Bill Moody, and I think he's a friend of Regina here too. So there's that.
The last candle that we light represents our silent joys and concerns. I invite you to allow yourself to take a deep breath and reflect on what's been shared. As we prepare for our offering today, just a reminder that we proudly participate in the Michael Sullivan Share the Plate initiative, where half of our monthly cash collection is donated to local charity. And of course, you can also donate through putting in an offering envelope or going on our website. This month, our Share the Plate recipient is More Justice, and we look forward to hearing about their work in these weeks to come. I invite Richard and Michelle to introduce our offertory song.
America the Beautiful began as a poem written by English professor and poet Catherine Lee Bates in the summer of 1893. Inspired by the sweeping panoramic views from Massachusetts to the summit of Pikes Peak in Colorado, the poem was initially titled Pikes Peak. She collaborated with a church organist, Samuel A. Ward, to create the melody. Today, I will sing her song with some revised lyrics to acknowledge more of our UU values, with a commitment to justice, human rights, and the continuous striving to make our nation righteous as well as strong.
Invite our ushers to come and receive our offering.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the fruited plain. America
beautiful for heroes all in every place and name, who strive for peace and liberty and seek the common good. America, America, may wisdom lead us still toward deeper care and dignity and strength through shared goodwill. Oh, beautiful for dreamers bold from every land and sea, who bring their hopes and gifts to build a more inclusive we. America, America, may freedom ever grow as we create a future bright for humankind to know.
Thank you. We receive these gifts in the spirit of our congregation as such a giving and loving community that we are. Allow me to go ahead and let the chills that are running up and down my back as well as my legs to die down just a little bit. Before I begin, I want to go ahead and pay tribute to the flowers that were gifted today by the McLeods in commemoration of this special day, but also use it as a time to go ahead and let you know that Maura would appreciate any of you willing to go ahead and take on part of your responsibilities as a member, be part of the Flower Committee. As I think about how to go ahead and pull together these many milestones, anniversaries, reflections, and celebrations, I can't help but think we already had so many. When we listened to Kathy talk about that day in July in 1959, the anniversaries of family members, the anniversary of a passing of a dear partner. And that's what we are. We are a sum of these milestones and these experiences that make us what we are. It was a challenge to how to pull together a service that marks these many milestones. But we go back to April 30th, 1950, and after a year and a half effort, the Reverend Lon Roy Call conducted an organizational meeting here in Columbia, and an 18-member Unitarian Fellowship of Columbia was approved by the American Unitarian Association. Many of us, it was very low profile, but on May 15th, 2026, we quietly marked the 65th anniversary of the founding of the UUA that brought together the Unitarian and Universalist faith. And in 2025, we as a community marked our 75th anniversary here at the UUCC. It was a unique anniversary because it was a year-long tribute of our history that we observed a timeline out on the art wall where 75 years of challenges and achievements that brought us here. And looking back on that year, we are reminded that our history is not something that's finished, archived, or locked away in a room, but it's ongoing. It's something that we continue to write every day. The 75th anniversary served as a unifying moment for this congregation because anniversaries help bring people together. Our committees came together in a variety of ways, from activities, programs, community service, and a memorable May 3rd celebration dinner. And though this morning Linda and I lit the chalice, truly did want the chalice lit by Carita Barr to recognize her for her tremendous service to this congregation and our support. She's back there someplace and is probably hearing this and will fuss at me later bringing it up. But again, Carita, actually I was going to say, are you standing up? But she is standing up. No. Carita, thank you so much from all of us for all you do to our congregation. The UUCC has changed a great deal over the past 75 years. One of the lessons in its history is that each generation helps shape what comes next. Our 75th anniversary was not just a moment to look backward, but it is time for us to look forward, inviting us to consider what kind of congregation are we building together, and how will each of us, individually and collectively, help shape the future of this community. Yesterday, the United States marked its 250th anniversary, a special milestone in the life of a nation, one that invited all Americans to pause and to reflect. Not only should we reflect on the history, but also that contemporary significance. For anniversaries are more than just dates and documents. It's about people. It's about places and stories, millions of them. It's about how a group of colonies came together in 1776 to declare their independence and how that movement set the course of the country we live in. Understanding our nation's history's long journey helps us see how we connect to the world around us. Just as that 75th anniversary was, America's 250th anniversary should be a unifying moment. Not because everyone sees the past the same way, but anniversaries help us bring together. Milestones help bring us together. From the first laugh, the words we speak, the first steps, the first holiday we remember, the first day of school, the first crush, the first kiss, and the long list of milestones that make us who we are. They are who we are. We are all the sum of our experiences, those unique experiences that we make us, and those common experiences that we have together help shape us. Experiences that bring us together, whether it be after service, during service, the meals we engage in, the committee gatherings that we have, the church projects, they connect us as a community. The recognition and celebration of milestones provide powerful opportunities to highlight our achievements, both big and small. Recognizing our successes in a small way causes stimulation in the brain to release dopamine and reinforce that sense of belonging. We'll have more about the brain next week with Richard's service. For some reason, events and dates are embedded in my mind some way, in a quirky way. A couple weeks ago, Melanie was up here and she kind of was surprised how quickly I knew what date I became a member of the UUCC. When Patty and I chose to be here, I remember the first Sunday I was here. And I remember choosing a particular date that we wanted to go ahead and make this our congregation. What she didn't know is that we had marked the 5,000th day of being a member just 2 days before. I didn't want to say that because that would have come across a little dorky. But dates mesmerize me. It's so awesome, in my opinion, that I know that I've been married 18,678 days. That's important that we celebrate each of them. For some reason, how it happened, why we had a child on a 1300th day we were married, 400 days having a second, and seriously, 1,000 days later having our daughter. So within that 1,400-day gap, we had our 3 children. But do those numbers happen by serendipitous, or is by design? How awesome was it on October 9th, 2005? Patty and I celebrated our 1,000,000th second since we first started dating. 1 billion seconds. Now, what makes that so amazing is when you take a look at that date, 10-9. How many of you know what 10 to the 9th is? 1 billion. And for that to be the day we marked our 1,000,000th day together, I'm sorry, that 1,000,000th minute together. Second. Sometimes it seems like 1 billion. Celebrating our 75th year brought us together in more ways than we knew. It sparked a sense of motivation, productivity, and encouraged us to want to move forward and be more involved in this congregation. When we came together on May 3rd, it was something very special that was happening in this room and in this building, because we had a chance to truly see that we are a community, that we as the UUCC truly do build on that mission to nurture and respect each other in our spiritual growth and our pursuit of meaning and creating a more welcoming and engaging environment. Every week, we proudly repeat the familiar lines that the Unitarian Universalist is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We talk about our values every single week, and it's by design to remind us why we are here. Because of the length of some of the candles of the community, I'm skipping a couple pages, and I hope I don't leave out any very special things. But as some of you know, that when I listen to the song From California to the Charleston Islands, that's where my life took place. Growing up in San Francisco, I was close to my grandparents, who spoke about their family's travel in the 1880s. My dad's grandfather was from Germany, and his mom's family was from Ireland. They made their way to America for what they said was all about opportunities. My mom's side of the family, she grew up on Sullivan's Island. She didn't really share that much about her family, but thanks to Ancestry.com, I was able to go ahead and learn more about her family. For her mom's side, came from England because King James and then later King Charles chartered what we know now as Maryland. Because George Calvert needed to leave England because he accepted the Catholic faith. And for religious reasons, he had to leave Britain and was able, first in Newfoundland, but then he was given the charter in Maryland. The other side of the family, though, was a little different because they, too, from England, ended up in Massachusetts, where there was this thing called the Salem witch trials that caused them to leave Salem and head south, first hoping to get to Virginia, but they missed it and ended up on the coast of Charleston at what we know now as Seaweed Plantation. They were among 56 people that settled off the coast. So July 4th serves as a way for us to think about our heritage. What brought us here? And when we think of the mathematics behind it, to know that over 10 generations, 1,024 people had to be connected just right over those years
to make it so that we can remember our 8 great-grands, our 4 grandparents, our 2 parents, but to think how many it took to go ahead and get us where we are today. And how can July 4th serve as a way to remind us of the heritage and what brought us here? For kids, American's birthday, it's family, fireworks, parade, barbecues, symbols like the American flag, the eagle, the Liberty Bell. And they help children understand what it is to be an American. My thinking of July 4th, I can't help but think of the July 4th, 1963. The night before, my grandfather would always take us down in his 1959 International pickup truck. And we would park backwards and we'd put the lawn chairs that you remember in the back of them, and we'd be ready for the next morning. We'd walk back, and the next morning made sure that Grandpa had that place for us. We'd watch the parade and pride and how special those parades were every year. Later that day, we walked back, and that afternoon, after we had some barbecue, my grandparents sat us down and told us that Honey Papa, our grandfather on Sullivan's Island, had passed away earlier that day. It was the first time I ever faced a sense of loss, where a family member that was, even though 3,000 miles away, we visited occasionally, and we knew what a loss it was to the family. Then in 1966, a July 4th was spent at Candlestick Park, where Grandpa, Dad, my older brother went to see a doubleheader to watch Juan Marichal and Gaylord Perry pitch against the St. Louis Cardinals. And I attended my first Major League Baseball game, seeing our heroes Willie Mays and Willie McCovey on the field. And those memories stay with us forever. The following year, 1967, was our last year, or my last year living in California. We went to a community picnic hosted by the San Mateo Police Department, where my dad was an officer. And when we got home, they were doing the cleaning up afterwards. Dad was beat, sitting on a lazy boy chair, getting some rest. My little brother asked if it was going to be time to go ahead and light the fireworks, and naturally he was told, no, we're going to go ahead and wait. We're not going to go ahead and do it right now. About 5 minutes later, Mike said, is it time to light the fireworks? And Dad said, no, I said we're going to do it later. But a 7-year-old later means just a little later. The later concept really doesn't really stick to a child who doesn't have that abstract thinking. So a little while later, I'm sitting there at the table and listening to my brother say, Dad, can we light him now? Can we light him now? Patience wasn't really one of Dad's attributes. And he said, kind of loud, we'll light him up later. Just go ahead and wait. It wasn't even 2 minutes later that Mike asked again. So my dad hollered from across the room, go ahead, light the whole box. All it took was that one bottle rocket right there in the kitchen. It went off and it squealed, it seemed like 5 minutes. And unfortunately, that's when the real fireworks, proverbial fireworks, took off as Mike exited the room and Dad was right there behind him. What a great memory. And as a dad, I was always reminded then that words matter. Throughout our lives, we write stories that are connected to our experiences. Our history is a reflection of our memories. During our 75th anniversary, we had a chance to relive those milestones and reflect on who we were. The fellowship of this congregation has existed through 13 presidents. They come and go, and we move forward, whether using us because we use a set of values that guide our work. This is our moment. A chance to celebrate all that is good. A chance to celebrate community. A community that's dedicated to inspiring our spiritual growth. Just as the case for our congregation, the same is true for our country. That was built on an experiment and a conviction that we are created equal and we have particular rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We still have chapters to be written as we continue this journey to move forward to that perfect union. As a congregation, we have experienced struggles and unexpected changes over the years that have caused us to reassess and move forward. We have chapters to be written and to continue on this journey to be a more perfect congregation. Last month, at the service of our annual meeting, Reverend Robinson reminded us that we measure that 525,600 minutes with love. In over 75 years as a congregation, that's just over 40 million minutes of love. Happy Independence Day. As we extinguish the chalice, if you would join me. As you know, today is 7/5. We marked our 75th, so it only makes appropriate that if you open your gray hymnal to 7:05, where we're going to go ahead and read together the verse found in 7:05. And then we'll do the closing song now that I've botched this up just a little bit. Now that you've got, I apologize. Please read with me if we agree in love, there's no disagreement that can do any injury. But if we do not, no other agreement can do us any good. Let us endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bonds of peace. That was Hosea Ballou, who is the father of American Universalism. And now, Michelle, Richard.
Is it time? You sure, Mark? Is it time now? Okay. This, My Country 'Tis of Thee, as I think you all know, was a melody first used by the British called God Save the King or Queen. And we added our own lyrics when the melody came to this country. The lyrics to My Country 'Tis of Thee are often called America. They were written in 1831 by a Baptist seminary student, Samuel Francis Smith. He wrote the words to this existing melody, God Save the King or Queen.
In the 1840s, abolitionist A.G. Duncan wrote a controversial alternative version of the song to protest slavery. It was reinvigorated as a song during the Civil Rights Movement. Marian Anderson sang it on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in 1939, and Martin Luther King Jr. recited the entire verse in his I Have a Dream speech, standing in the same spot in 1963. Thoughtful patriotism is a kind of piety, of shared respect for beneficial traditions that binds people together across time, space, and in the United States, across ethnic boundaries. It involves respect for achievement in the past, though never ignoring failures and shortcomings. It is a solvent that dissolves class conflict by embracing the common aspirations of ordinary people. Will you please stand and join us in singing the first three verses of My Country 'Tis of Thee?
join us in our congregational benediction as we extinguish our chalice. A big thanks to Mark for leading our service today, and for Michelle and Richard for the beautiful music. And even though we extinguish our chalice today, our flame, our light, our warmth, our love continues to burn brightly. Join me in our congregational benediction. If you can be seated for just one moment. We have 3 announcements, and what's interesting about our 3 announcements is they will take 75 seconds to read, which is interesting because it comes in our 75th, end of our 75th anniversary, but also on the date of 7/5. So, how's that? Maybe less than 75 seconds, we'll see. From the fundraising committee, the annual Balenciaga Fashion and Dog Show, which aims to get shelters' dogs adopted, will be held on Saturday, October 10th, and a rain date of October 17th, which is a Saturday. It will be held here at the UUCC, and we're hoping that some UUCC members and congregationalists will volunteer to walk down the aisle as runway models with the animals. So we'll see if that happens. If you're interested in being considered or auditioning for that, you can email Blake Carlton right there, and it's blake.carlton@gmail.com. 10 days you have left to submit your application to be a part of that, so please act quickly. Second announcement from the membership committee, please remember to complete the sign-up form if you're interested in participating in the UUCC Circle Suppers that will begin in August and run monthly through November. And then our third announcement is from the CYRE committee that they need volunteers for the summer and would like to carry UUCC voices into the classroom. Do what? Sorry, I know, I just made that number up. As Mark does too, but y'all don't fact check him. 1 billion seconds, really? Patty, I'm sorry. Anyway, the CYRE would love to have those who are not regular volunteers help out and do a get to know you with the CYRE kids, perhaps just coming and hanging out or leading a discussion in class. You can come and join me next Sunday. I'll be doing that, or helping out with arts and crafts. Any kind of commitment that you're comfortable with, we look forward to. So as you're always welcome, you do have some ability to sign up electronically using the QR code that is out in the social hall. So make sure that you let George know if you're interested in helping out. Those are our 3 announcements. And our time as a service has come to a close. So we are so glad that visitors are here, and we invite you to stick around and give us a chance to visit with you and get to know you as you get to know us as a congregation. Thank you all for being here for our service today.
But first, a word about our postlude. Some of you may not know that the national anthem has more than 1 verse. We're not going to sing them all, but you might be interested, so I listed them there. The words for the Star-Spangled Banner, as you know, were written in 1814 by Francis Scott Key after watching the British Royal Navy bombard Baltimore's Fort McHenry during the War of 1812. Now this will be our postlude, so dismiss yourselves and or sing along as you like, as you stand. Oh, say, can you see by the
Play ball!